tuning in. Hey guys, welcome to Tech Talk. It's Ryan and my co-commentator Will.
Hello. Our podcast talks about video games, technology, and whatever else we feel like. So this week we are going to have more of a variety episode. So if any of our guests would like to have a story they'd like to talk about, please go ahead.
Me too.
Cameron?
So over the break, I went scuba diving and I forgot to take my Apple Watch off, and I went down 130 feet and it still worked.
It does? Wow.
Really?
Good technology.
Riveting stuff. Anyone else?
So is that still worth the price?
Over the summer, I went to the Caribbean and I took a GoPro underwater, and my friend forgot to put the protective plastic over it.
Oh, Lord.
And then she had it above her hand. I'm like, give it back. You need to put the plastic over it, and it still worked. So I was like,
I jumped off a boat, my GoPro, and I fell off my head. It went in the water. It was really sad.
Oh.
Can we talk about something else than just technology underwater and it still works after?
Sure, Brent. What do you want to talk about?
I thought I dropped my phone in the water like at least 5 times a day. So.
Jonathan, you raised your hand. Do you have anything to say?
My Nokia saved me from a bullet. Okay, so the real thing is, NVIDIA's launching its Pascal series GPUs next month. Is it worth buying a 970 or saving for one of those?
No, save. Because especially if they are going to release it, then yeah, it's definitely worth the wait.
They've only confirmed launching the 980 though, which is $200 more.
Yeah, the 1080, I think it's supposed to be called.
Yeah, 1080.
Yeah, it was the graphics developer conference yesterday, and they didn't mention anything about Pascal. They just did like some VR stuff, like NVIDIA VR and like game engines for developers. So, do you think they're like going to announce it next month, or do you think they're going to do it more in the summer, which is more of a traditional launch time?
I'm not quite sure. They did this on their social media. They did mention possibly bringing up the new 1080 at the GPU conference, but then launching the 970 and 960s in the summer. So I don't know. They might save it all for the summer.
They probably will, because NVIDIA just had their press conference last night. It's like, it was just mostly game engine stuff and VR stuff and Pascal optimization as well. So I would agree.
Then again, a lot of people lie on social media to make themselves look a lot better.
Yeah. Henry, you had something?
Beautiful.
Yeah. I'm not sure how new this is now, but pretty recently the new iPhone SE launched.
Oh yeah, that looks pretty interesting. I think Sam has one.
I think it's more for like people that had the 5 or 5S and they didn't want to upgrade to the 6 because of the size.
I think it was a real size issue. I think for a lot of people.
Recommendations, like what Apple has heard from people. Like so many people like the feel of the 5.
Yeah, like more
Yeah.
curves.
6 because the curves and everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
So Sam, I had a question. Since you actually have one, I was wondering, do you notice a real difference between the 6 or the 5 or the SE?
So it doesn't have 3D touch, but I kind of don't really care about that because not many people really use it. Well, I haven't seen many people use it.
I do.
Yeah, I've been looking, and there's a few apps and a few like just fun things you can do with it.
I do.
They look pretty
I use
good.
3D touch.
It's pretty good if you know how to use it. But some apps that don't work with it, it's like really bad.
Yeah. Jonathan?
I received an email the other day about a new 9-inch Apple Pro.
Oh, yeah,
I
that just
Yeah, the 9.7 inch.
It came
I
out
compared the
over weekend, I
specs,
think.
and they're all either the same or worse besides the camera, which they seem to upgrade.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
sure.
think the only thing that they upgrade do they just plan on every single new phone they have just to make it bigger? Because that's not really innovative.
Well, I mean, I think they changed the chips sometimes too.
Yeah, it's mostly.
from the A7 to the A9.
Yes, that's the big thing I noticed.
But yeah, Meredith, like that, I agree with you. It's mostly like it's either like a big chip upgrade or a big design upgrade. Like it's one of the two. Like that's really the only launches.
Yeah, like on the SE, like they really made the back camera like a lot better than the front facing camera.
Yeah, the front facing camera is still the 5S camera.
Yeah, so it's like kind of annoying because they made the front camera or the back camera so much better than the front camera.
Luca?
Yeah, they do change the design and like the chip a lot, but they actually on the recent 6S they changed the back camera to a 12 megapixel and not a 8 or 9 megapixel.
I have a 6S. and I had an iTouch 5 for it. The 6S was my first phone, and like coming from any other phone ever, it's a gigantic step up. This isn't the iPhone world. Android phones are now 16 megapixels, so yeah, don't hate them.
I have a question. Do you think Apple's gonna make any more iPods?
No,
actually, they made the iPod 6.
They did?
Yeah.
yeah,
It's the same
the
design
iPod
as
Touch
the
6.
5.
It's literally
It's just faster.
So is it?
they just
so
put
it's
the
just
5S
faster?
into an
Yeah.
iTouch bottom.
Right, but no one who is like above 6th grade is gonna have like an iPod Touch.
Yeah.
They're all gonna have you're probably just gonna have iPhones.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of
Or
like
get their parents.
It's really tailored. For a very small and certain age group.
yeah.
And I feel like the age group is starting to get smaller and smaller,
Smaller
and
and
smaller.
Yeah, because
So,
more
yeah,
kids are getting
Yeah,
phones
and
at
also
lower
Apple
ages
is
and
even
like
starting to lose steam now. So I
Mhm.
think that they might cut this in 20 years.
I think they are going to I think the iPod Touch is such a niche market that by still producing it you're kind of just wasting
Yeah.
Well, I think Apple has made so many other iPods that like the shuffle, like people don't
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think nowadays, an iPod used to kind of look to a wider age group, but now as people are giving their kids phones in at younger ages, because I know a lot of people who got their phones in 5th grade.
Mhm.
What happens is that the iPod Touches aren't of use really anymore.
Yeah, and iPods used to be such a bigger thing because phones used to be just for calling. Now they're they play games, they play music, they play video. So it's more just about the iPods itself is more of a niche market.
Well,
Henry,
2 things. Actually, the iPod Shuffle is helpful because kids going to camp for sleepaway camp, the people allow things without screens. So since the iPod Shuffle doesn't have screens, they're still allowed to bring that. And ever since the iPad Mini, the iPad has just been losing its steam. Now it's basically nothing.
I disagree with
yeah,
that.
I disagree as well.
Because I feel like the iPad is more for people who, I think the iPad's more kind of a stay-at-home type thing, where you keep it at home and it's not as much for, you can message and stuff on it, but for me, on my phone, I do more, messaging and calling, but on my iPad, I do a lot more gaming.
But the
Comfortable
iPad is
productivity.
now older,
Yes.
and most people have it from a long time ago.
I would just say, as an 8th grader, we all have an iPad. I think that's really useful because it's sort of it's a lot more useful than. It's a lot more concentrated than pen and paper, but it's not quite a laptop because
Yeah.
it can be a lot
Yeah,
bigger.
so I think, so are you saying, that
I
it's the
think
perfect
it
balance?
It has its uses. Personally, I don't like it very much.
It's kind of a step up because if an 8th grader doesn't have a laptop, I have a laptop, but if an 8th grader doesn't have a laptop, it's really convenient for them to go home and do their homework. So iPads in that way are really useful, and you all get iPads in 8th grade, and they are very useful. I use mine every single day. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but my sister's in 10th grade now. What she says, because you get a laptop when you're in 9th grade, the iPad's kind of become a little more obsolete, and your laptop kind of becomes your main device, because it's a laptop. It's more functional than
Well, the
an
iPad
iPad.
is just a step. I mean,
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a step towards the big to a laptop.
Would you think that the iPod Touch and an iPad's just basically a bigger version of an iPod Touch?
No, I disagree because especially with the tablet that can replace your laptop market, the Surface,
I've
the
noticed though
Yoga
that a
Mix,
few things on the iPad you can't do on a computer.
well, we can go to Google Docs on our iPad.
Yeah, but you can't use Flash on most iPads.
Yeah,
Which
but Flash
sometimes
isn't
do
really needed on most iPads because of Swift is taking the place of you for the uses you use a laptop for, an iPad doesn't fit those uses as well. Luca?
And also next year for 8th grade, 7th graders next year are actually gonna get a computer, I'm pretty sure, and not an iPad.
Okay, that's not fair.
Is it the Chromebook?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
oh, I tested the Chromebook last year, and I used it for like 3 months. And so just give me a dirty look. No, I did, and it was fine. Like, for just school use, it's perfect, but for anything else, it's kind of terrible. Like, it's... You try to do that with your MacBook, it bends the same amount. Like, seriously, it does...
plastic and metal, plastic bends like... metal's like...
It does the same, like, but still, it bends the same amount, so, like, what? Okay.
But it...
I feel bad for anyone listening. They just missed that visual.
Yeah, that was the best visual I've ever seen. I feel very bad. Okay.
Going back to our old topic about the iPhones. I mean, not iPhones, iPods. I still have an iPod 4th gen. It's not even on the market anymore.
That's my boy!
Second
That's my boy!
It takes 5 minutes to charge up to 75%.
First gen, it doesn't even have a camera.
And then 100 minutes to go up to 100.
Correct.
It's really, really hot.
5
okay.
minutes in charging, it goes up to 75%. Really good. Then the rest of it takes about 100 minutes to go from 75 to 100. Then when I use it, it only lasts like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I haven't touched it in 3 years.
I'd love to keep this discussion going, but unfortunately we're out of time for today. I hope you enjoyed listening to Tech Talk. We hope you will come back for the next episode. Just a quick reminder.
Yeah, just so everyone knows too that we actually have 3 episodes now on the St. Luke's YouTube channel.
We have a special Tech Talk YouTube channel and we will have a page through the radio station, the St. Luke's website, and the radio station page. There will be our own Tech Talk page with all our episodes. If you'd like to find it on YouTube now, you can go to Tech Talk. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you'll come back for the next episode.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.